What's going on, everyone? Today's video, of course, is going to be a continuation of my music reviews of albums released at the very end of 2022. Today's video, of course, I'll be discussing the latest release from Fred Again. Fred John Philip Gibson, aka Fred Again, returns with his third installment in his Actual Life series. Fred is a British DJ and music producer, as well as singer, songwriter, and multi-instrumentalist. His musical style can be described as a blend of house, hip-hop, garage, and pop. I learned a lot of fun facts while researching for this review, one of them being the fact that his father is literally the Brian Eno. I also learned that Fred has collaborated with Eno on musical projects starting in the early 2010s. Learning this made everything click for me, and helped me understand why Fred's music is so appealing to myself and many others. Brian Eno himself is a living legend, and I consider myself a fan. If you know, you know. The guy has created so much incredible music, so I can now understand the influence that he has had on Fred Again. However, Fred Again wouldn't hit my radar until 2021, and I'm specifically referring to his Boiler Room set, which took place in London, which was an incredible DJ set. I'd been seeing his name pop up online prior to that show, but I truthfully hadn't heard much of his music up until that point. And the now famous Boiler Room set honestly put his name on the map, as Fred's popularity skyrocketed soon after that. I'll make sure to link it in the description as well if anyone is interested. And he's worked with some of the biggest names in music today, including the likes of BTS, Burna Boy, FKA Twigs, Skrillex, and the XX, just to name a few. His Actual Life series began in 2019, originally meant to be a diary, a documentation and reflection of Fred's life during the pandemic. His distinct style includes heavy sampling of random voice memos and snippets from social media, all chosen specifically to highlight the zeitgeist of life in the present day. Fred's latest installment in the series, Actual Life 3, is a total of 13 tracks, sitting at 40 minutes in length. And as always, I'll be offering my thoughts and highlights, track by track, of course starting with the first, here entitled January 1st, 2022. The opening track is very simple, it's barely 11 seconds long. There's no music here, just some crackling and audio of a brief exchange between a guy and a gal. We hear the female voice. She says, "No, we're gonna do this," in a happy and excited tone. Calmly, Fred replies, "All right, I'll follow you." Track 2 is entitled Eyelar, Shutters, featuring Eyelar. This is a smooth electro house tune. It kicks off by introducing the listener to the vocal sample, and Eyelar provides the vocals for the music, bringing a decent sound to the song. The instrumental features gentle production, grooving synth bass, and atmospheric synth pads, all creating a wonderful soundscape. But to me, the most captivating element is the main synth melody, which is introduced within the first minute. It's truly the cherry on top and acts as a strong counter-melody for the vocals. Its offbeat movement mimics the vocal melody, but highlights different pitches, so it adds nice melodic variation to the music. The vocal melody is later reintroduced in the mix, as Fred hops on vocals and provides a smooth performance. And during the outro, a soft piano melody enters and acts as a segue into the next track. It sounds as if it were out of key, which is curious to me. I wonder why that decision was made, as it does end the song on an odd note. There's not much going on in the lyrical department on the song. The few lyrics we do have here offer surface-level insight for the theme of the song. We can hear the following refrain throughout the song as we hear the words, "You make it better." This hints at ongoing themes of reassurance and love present throughout the album. Track 3 is entitled Delilah, Pull Me Out of This, featuring Delilah Montague. This is a mellow house tune. The intro sets the tone as we hear the vocal sample and sung vocals complementing each other. We can hear Montague sing and speak. She says the words, "So when I just got here, I was just a bit like, I don't want to be here anymore." And she sings, "Pull me out of this." The instrumental consists of the upbeat 4-on-the-floor percussion, the syncopated chord progression, and bright synths that move in sync with the main chords. And to me, the chords sound like a sampling of a piano performance. New synth melodic elements also appear halfway through, just before the mix shrinks. They're choppy and syncopated, highlighting pedal tones. Once the mix does eventually shrink, the production gives the listener a chance to soak in the vocals and vocal samples before the mix steadily builds up into the next major dance section. Thematically, this song seems to be about finding peace in another person. You never know when you may have a calming effect on someone else. And I think this song highlights that moment when you're being called upon to share some of that calming energy and you realize what you mean to this other person. And I like that the outro features noticeable shifts in the percussion and accompanying samples, thus acting as a sleek bridge into the following track. And track 4 is entitled Kammy, Like I Do, featuring Camille. This track is a personal favorite. Whenever I listen to it, I feel like that meme video of the cat that's bobbing its head to the beat. You know what I'm talking about? I just love this tune. The music picks up where the last track left off, as only the drums can be heard. They come in strong, acting as an oral cue for the listener to realize that a new song has begun. The catchy vocal sample is introduced early on, and it's a prominent element throughout the song. I love Camille's performance, as her vocals are an integral part, an element to the tune. The drums feature a big shift in groove, as the kicks are syncopated here and the snares are crispy. The rhythms highlighted by the percussion are so infectious that it's impossible for me to sit still while listening. Halfway through the song, my favorite element is gradually introduced, and that's the main synth melody. It's got a gated type of movement to it, very mellow in terms of timbre. It complements the lively percussion perfectly, as all the various rhythmic ideas come together harmoniously. The final third of the song features a significant shrinking in the mix, allowing the listener to focus on those vocal samples. And soon the mix builds as the drums are slowly brought back, and the mix explodes with that final drop. The vocal and synth melodies finally come together, and the section carries the listener into the outro. Online, Fred has explained that this song is meant to highlight the type of romantic connection that leads to isolation from the world around that romance, that relationship. Via Instagram, Fred posted, quote, "It's about diving further and further down into something that alienates you from everyone around you," unquote. It's not the most positive type of love, but very real nonetheless. For example, in the third verse we hear Camille sing, "Hold me through the night, take away the pain, leave them all behind, they don't understand. Baby, you and I, can't we run away?" Emotions are powerful, especially when it comes to love. Track 5 is entitled Berwyn, All That I Got Is You, featuring Berwyn, Dermot Kennedy, and Guante. The music moves in a somber direction, and I say that because of the main vocal sample. The vocals are provided by Kennedy, and while it's a short sample, there's tons of emotion packed into the performance. Beautiful work here. In the background, there's a lonely piano accompaniment, providing a syncopated counter melody for the sung vocals. Mellow synth pads and gentle syncopated kick drums are gradually introduced. The music abruptly stops as a new vocal sample is introduced, accompanied by bright, ambient timbres in the background. This is Guante's verse, and it's very similar to Berwyn's verse, as they both feature spoken word performances. The section is a blend of various instruments and vocals, all coming together to end the song on a delightfully bright note. Thematically, this song highlights a carefree energy that I believe is rooted in a sense of futility, as we hear in the second verse of spoken word, "Still winter, the only warmth in running together, you, full color, howling life into a dead moon, the ghosts born on our lips, whirling together in lantern light. This is not the end of the world, this is an invitation to dance." And to me, it all boils down to a sense of reassurance in someone or something. Despite how crazy things may get, it can be freeing to know that there's always something or someone that you can count on. Track 6 is entitled Bleu, Better With Time, featuring Young Bleu. This smooth banger is another personal favorite. The catchy main vocal melody is introduced right off the bat. Young Bleu provides clean vocals for the sample, and I love the timbre of their voice in the mix. Fred provides the vocals heard during the 2 verses of the song. There's a sleek vocoder on his voice, creating a unique timbre that feels very liquid in shape. It's not quite human, something more than that. In the background, we can hear pulsing synth pads blended with soft and distant percussion. The main synth melody is slowly mixed into the music, and I love the way we ease into it. Once it enters in full about a minute in, there's offbeat hi-hats added to the mix, and this helps solidify the main section of the music. Another subtle element I love is the sliding bass synth. It's barely there, but the bass certainly has its moments where it shines. And don't worry, Fred, I heard what you did with that bass line. In the second half, new sparkly synth counter melodies are introduced, further enriching the hypnotic soundscape. They complement the mix and vocal melodies well, and it all fades out quickly once we reach the end. Thematically, the song seems to be about moving forward from a difficult experience. It evokes a sense of grief as Fred speaks about lingering pain, sorrow, and longing. In the second verse, he sings, "It haunts me. It's just when your screen went black. I still feel you above me, and you'll always guide me back. I see you fading, but you saved me, but you break me." The emotions described here are very real and nuanced. If you listen to them and it evokes something within you, you just know where Fred is coming from. Track 7 is entitled Nathan, Still Breathing, featuring Nathan Archie. This is a mesmerizing tune, and it makes me feel like I'm sitting in the backseat of an Uber after a very long night. The tempo is noticeably much slower. The music moves like molasses as the kick anchors the listener in the steady four-on-the-floor flow. The mix consists of the vocal melodies, minimal percussion, flowing synth pads, and a subtle bass drone. I enjoy the main synth melody. Its movement feels lazy and offbeat, emphasizing a simple groove within the music. Repeating staccato synths sneak into the mix during the second half, adding some much-needed movement in the accompaniment. A subtle snare also joins the mix, further building the gradual sense of progression. The outro features vocal drones and the vocal melodies, as the remaining elements of the mix quickly fade out. Thematically, this song keeps it simple. It's another track about reassurance, as we hear Archie sing on the chorus, "But you're not alone. If I'm still breathing, we're still breathing. You're still alive, heart's still beating. Maybe bleeding, that's all right." It's a reoccurring theme here, the idea that love is worth every ounce of your time and energy, and I must say I do agree. Track 8 is entitled Danielle, Smile on My Face. The electro house energy returns with this track. From the get-go, we're introduced to the rich four-on-the-floor percussion. A driving synth bass groove follows soon after as the main vocals are brought in. And while not directly credited on the song title, the sung vocals are provided by none other than 070 Shake, which was a pleasant surprise. I'm a fan of her style and wasn't expecting to hear her on this project. In the background, I can hear ambient synths and swells, which creates a serene soundscape. I especially enjoy the jumps in pitch we can hear in the synth bass. It makes the track feel even bouncier than it already did. In the second major drop section, the mix grows brighter with the addition of sustained vocal tones in the background. The mix was already drenched in reverb, but we feel so much more of it here in this section. After the music grooves along for a bit, most elements in the mix fade out. The music comes to a complete stop as the isolated vocal samples close out the song. Via Instagram, Fred has explained that this song is thematically tied to track 4, Like I Do. In the lyrics, we can hear themes of love and about surrendering to love entirely. As Fred and 070 Shake sing in the second verse, "Sometimes I want to feel the pain, sometimes you make me want to face it. So squeeze my heart all day, squeeze it till it breaks. Fuck what they say, I'm safe in your arms, and if I die in your arms, there'll be a smile on my face." There's hints throughout the song that this love may not be the healthiest, but the speaker reminds us that this makes no difference to them. They are happy with what they've got. Track 9 is entitled Kelly, The End of a Nightmare, featuring Kelly Zutrow. The intro is gradual, consisting of the main vocal sample and melody. We can also hear mellow synth pads steadily driving the music forward. The drums are gradually introduced through the build-up as they feel muted or muffled at first. But about 2 minutes in, the drums come in full force. The kicks are syncopated and the snares ring through the mix beautifully. The groove is lively and makes me want to dance. The background accompaniment swells accordingly as the subtle synth melody shifts to and fro in the background. The groove is similar to that of track 4. I especially enjoy how the mix shrinks and swells in an organic manner. It just sounds beautiful. For example, the mix slows down drastically before building into the last dance section, that final drop. A brief rap sample is added into the mix, and this leads into the outro. It adds some progression to the mix and sounds great. There's a lot more movement here, which I love. And after the music calms down, the mix grows more distorted and muffled as it all comes to a complete stop. Thematically, the song seems to be about guiding a person out of a dark place. as Zutrao sings throughout the song, "Do not fear, you are near the end of a nightmare." The speaker reminds the listener to latch onto them for support and allow the love to guide them forward. Track 10 is entitled Mustafa, Time to Move You. This is a brief ambient cut. It mainly consists of vocal melodies and samples. The sung melodies here are provided by Mustafa and Fred. In the background, we can hear somber piano accompaniment with plenty of movement in the arpeggios above the steady chords. There's also sustained synth swells, deep synth bass, and samples of chirping birds. The music flows in a fluid manner, and the outro transitions perfectly into the following track. And thematically, the song is a bit vague if not straightforward. The speaker touches on themes of letting someone go and allowing themselves to feel their emotions as they go through the experience. I'd say Fred sums it up best during his verse as he sings, "I was out my mind last year, throwing pictures through the mirror of your mind. And we were so far in, couldn't see what we were leaving behind. But parts of you were realer than life, could barely define." The song revolves around the concept of mourning a relationship and allowing yourself the space to process the changes that come with losing someone special. Track 11 is entitled Clara, The Night is Dark, featuring Clara Ward. This is a smooth trance tune. The prominent vocal sample featured here comes from Clara Ward's cover of the hymn The Storm is Passing Over. The performance is packed with energy, and I'd say it complements the instrumental very well. We can hear steady ringing piano chords, 4-on-the-floor percussion, grooving syncopated synth bass, and stretched out ambient vocal samples in the background. The final third of the song features a notable shift in the music as vocal synths and gated synth chords join to slow the music down in a nice manner. The music flows into a gradual build-up into the final drop, and the transition out of this song is very smooth as well, as miscellaneous vocal samples bleed into the mix as all elements of the music fade out. And thematically, this song highlights a sense of perseverance through unity, as we can hear Ward sing in the sample, "Courage, my soul, and let us journey on. Though the night is dark, it won't be very long." It's a beautiful theme that I find is present throughout all of the album if you listen closely enough. Track 12 is entitled Winnie, End of Me, featuring Winnie Raider. The serene ambient energy continues with this tune. The intro features subtle percussive hits, building up a new drive as the melodic vocal sample is gradually introduced. The vocals provided by Raider are sincere and work very well in the mix. In the background, we can hear sustained synth swells and strings. The soundscape is bright and blurry, as if we've reached a warm oasis on the album. Fred switches up the sound just a little bit with a chopped version of the vocal melody, which he uses in the transitions between verses and chorus sections. A piano sneaks into the mix in the later part of the second half, enriching the mix with subtle counter melodies in the background. Thematically, this song seems to highlight a sense of futility that may come with relationships. But I'm not sure that's a negative thing, as every relationship is bound to help you grow and become a better person. Love is what it's all about, and I don't mean that in a strictly romantic sense either. The same rings true for any type of relationship. As we hear Raider sing throughout the song, "You will be the end of me. You're now dancing in my room, and you're smiling like no one ever hurt you. You're falling down, I'm coming too." When you truly love someone, you'll do anything for them, no matter what life may bring your way. And lastly, track 13 is entitled September 9th, 2022. This track is 14 seconds of pure sound. It reminds me of when someone has clearly butt-dialed you, and all you can hear is the sound of their phone rustling around in their pocket. At the very end, we hear the female voice heard at the very beginning of the album reappear. This sample had been sprinkled around in various places on the album, and for one last time we hear the sample again, we hear the following: "If you don't know, don't worry." Thus ending the album on a final reassuring note. Overall, this was a beautifully stunning and atmospheric album. It's a fluid listening experience packed with bangers and carefully calculated pacing. It's an accessible sound, easy for any listener to digest and understand. The music is also deliberate as it calms down when it needs to. It offers the listener the space to freely dance along as they wish, and gives the listener breathers when they're needed. It's a body of work that no doubt would sound incredible in a live setting. I consider the album a breath of fresh air, as Fred is able to bring a timeless sound to life and creates fun electronica in the process. This is dance music done right, and I do not say that lightly. A lot of the magic here can be found in the subtleties, the smaller details. From the grooves, the sound design, to the sampling, the melodies, and featured artists, everything comes together to provide the listener with a strong and cohesive listening experience. Working on this music review was a pleasure because it gave me an excuse to spin this banger of an album over and over and over again. I'm eager to see where Fred Again will go from here, and the way I see it, the sky's the limit, and he's well on his way to greatness. And if you've sat here and you've listened to me talk about Fred Again and Actual Life Volume 3, thank you so very much. I appreciate you taking the time to do that. Nobody asked you to click on this video, so if you've watched up until this point, thank you. And with all that being said, I hope you're having a very wonderful day. Make sure to stay hydrated. Keep yourself safe out there. Take care. Peace.